What's going on, guys? I'm here today with my Week 6 NFL picks for the 2012 NFL season. Last week, I believe I was 10-4 overall, a pretty good week for me, and I'm already 0-1 this week, having picked Pittsburgh on Thursday Night Football against Tennessee, and I had a pretty close margin for the game. I picked 24-14, but Tennessee surprised me, and like I said in the video I made previewing the matchup, crazy things happen in the NFL. It's hard to predict a lot of things, and that was one of the games that was just very tough to predict, and Tennessee came out and won that game after they were pretty much dominated by the Minnesota Vikings last week. And so it's amazing how teams can go from such a high to such a low the next week, or vice versa. But anyways, Oakland at Atlanta. I'm taking the Atlanta Falcons. They're a top 2, top 3 team in the NFL. Matt Ryan is having a great year. He has Roddy White, Tony Gonzalez, Julio Jones, and the Raiders have Darren McFadden not playing that well, and Carson Palmer being an average quarterback at best. And just Atlanta has so much more firepower and a better defense than the Raiders. I gotta take Atlanta at home 34-10 as they continue their unbeaten season. Next up, Cincinnati at Cleveland. I've debated giving Cleveland this upset pick, and I'm gonna give this one to the Cincinnati Bengals. When they played in, I believe, Week 2, I can't remember when exactly it was. I believe it was 27-24. It was a very close game. But I'm taking Cincinnati in this one because, one, I love the combo of Andy Dalton and A.J. Green. But also for Cleveland, I think they're making Brandon Weeden throw the ball too much, and they're not giving the ball to Trent Richardson enough. So we'll see what their offensive approach is in this game. I think the safer pick is taking Cincinnati, and that's what I'm going with in this week, 24-17, as Cleveland continues their winless season. But I could see them pulling off the upset in this game. They play tough in their division. Next up, we have St. Louis traveling to Miami, and St. Louis lost probably their best offensive threat, especially in the passing game, in Danny Amendola against the Cardinals, and their defense is very good, and I could see them taking over this game and picking off Ryan Tannehill. And I think this is a test for the St. Louis Rams this week, because they have been a good team at home. They've won 3 games there, and if they win this game, it won't surprise me at all. But I'm taking Miami because they are the home team, and I'm waiting for the St. Louis Rams to show me something on the road, while Tannehill's been playing pretty good as of late, and they got a big victory last week against Cincinnati. So I'll be taking the Miami Dolphins in this game, 20-17. Up next, Indianapolis traveling to the New York Jets. The Colts knocked off the Packers last week for Coach Chuck Pagano, and Andrew Luck and Reggie Wayne are definitely a dangerous tandem, but Antonio Cromartie is a good corner. The Jets' offense is getting a little bit healthier this week, although I don't have all the confidence in their offense. But they showed against Houston on Monday night that they can play tough, and if Rex Ryan has them prepared like he did against Houston, they should win this game, I believe. But I think it could be a very close game. I'm taking the Jets in this one, 21-17. Next up, we have Detroit traveling to Philadelphia. Detroit coming off of the bye week in a very important game for them. I believe next week they play against the Bears, and so they need this win. They can't go to 1-4 and back into that Bears game. But Philadelphia, despite Michael Vick's turnovers, have 3 wins on the season, and I just wonder if Detroit's pass rush is going to be able to force enough Michael Vick turnovers for them to be effective. I mean, their pass rush hasn't been that great this year, although Michael Vick will find a way to probably throw some interceptions or fumble the football somewhere. But I'm taking Philadelphia at home. Detroit's defense is really not that impressive, and Philly has the playmakers to expose them, so I'm looking for Philadelphia to do just that, 23-20 Eagles. Next up, Kansas City at Tampa Bay. And I've fallen into this trap at least 2 or 3 times this year. I've picked Kansas City to win some games, and they've been very unimpressive this season, despite some of the names they have on their team, like Brandon Flowers and Dwayne Bowe and Jamal Charles. But Brady Quinn is going to be starting this game, and that could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. I mean, with Matt Castle playing so poorly, maybe it's not a bad thing to have a quarterback change here, and maybe we can see a little bit of controversy if Quinn plays well. And now for Tampa Bay, just today, Aqib Talib ended up getting suspended for the next 4 games, and that adds up to their torchable secondary as far as having holes. And so Brady Quinn has to look for Dwayne Bowe in this game early and often to get some big plays in the passing game and to open up Jamal Charles. And I keep creating these blueprints in my head for the Chiefs to get victories, and they go off and get like 7 turnovers against the Chargers, whatever it was, and they just completely fall apart in so many different ways. They've beaten New Orleans, and that's it. But I'm taking Kansas City this week, and if they don't win, it might be the last time I pick them all year. 24-17 Kansas City. Don't let me down, Brady Quinn. Next up, Dallas Cowboys at Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Ravens got a victory last week, scoring only 9 points. And that high-powered offense with Flacco, with Torrey Smith, Anquan Bolden, Dennis Pitta making some nice red zone plays, as well as Ray Rice, only put up 9 points against Kansas City. But I expect them to bounce back this week. at home, but I'm not sure they're going to have all the offensive success that they had before, because the Cowboys, I like their defense this year. Despite their struggles on offense and Romo and whatever you want to say about them, I've liked their defense pretty much all season, and I'm going to take Baltimore in this game, though, because I like their offense more, and Romo is very turnover prone. I just like Baltimore at home in this matchup, 24-16. Up next, Buffalo and Arizona. I've almost given Buffalo the upset pick in this one, but I just don't like their team right now, especially on the road, and I think it falls into place for them to have a good game if they can get some pass rush on Kevin Kolb, and if they can't, then they don't deserve to be in this game, because Kolb has been under pressure a lot this season. They're down to like their third or their fourth running back this year. It's either going to be Rod Stevens-Howling or William Powell. And I like Buffalo in this matchup because of the line that's trying to block for Kevin Kolb, and that the fact that they're down to their third or their fourth running back. They're definitely be looking for Larry Fitzgerald to bail out Kevin Kolb. But I like Arizona at home. Their defense is still very good. If they can bait Fitzpatrick into throwing even more turnovers, then I think they're going to have a good chance of winning this football game. But in a close game, I'm taking Arizona 17-14. Next up, New England Patriots traveling to the Seattle Seahawks, and I'm taking the New England Patriots in this game pretty much for the same reasons I took Carolina foolishly last week. I think that Seattle has a very good defense, but their offense does not impress me. Now, on the flip side, I think New England has a huge advantage on offense, but doesn't have as good as a defense as Seattle has. But I just don't think that Seattle can keep up with Tom Brady in this passing attack. No, I said the same thing about them against Cam Newton last week, but I have a lot more confidence in Tom Brady to actually fulfill that. And so I'm taking the Pats on the road by a score of 24-20. Next up, big game here I'm not going to be able to see because I'm watching the Vikings game at the same time as this one. And so it's going to be San Francisco against New York Giants. And San Francisco has given up a combined 3 points in their last 2 games against the Bills and the Jets. Their defense is rolling right now. Minnesota woke this team up, and the Giants are going to be their next victim. And so we'll see how good they are defending against this offense, because clearly the Giants have a better offense than the Bills and the Jets. And I want to see this matchup really bad. This is going to be a great game, I think, again. But I think San Francisco gets their revenge. They're hot right now. They're playing very good defense. I like the 49ers at home, 21-17. Next up, the game I'll be watching at 3:25, whatever time it's on. The Vikings and the Redskins. Might make a preview video for this one yet, not sure yet. But I have the Vikings winning 27-20 because I think the Vikings are just a better overall team. They're playing very good defense. As long as they can handle playing against their first dual-threat quarterback, their first game outside of a dome this year, as well as playing continually well on the road, they can get this victory. But a lot of things have to go right for the Vikings. They have to continue to play very good in physical defense and playing very active in the passing game. The defensive backfield's played so much better as opposed to weeks 1 and 2 in the past 6-7 years, however long it's been they've been running this Tampa 2 scheme. But this is also where Adrian Peterson blew his knee out on Christmas Eve last year, so I know he's going to be a man possessed, and he wanted to show people who he was in Week 1 against Jacksonville. He had his best game of the season. Now this is Adrian's next big prove-it game. I think he goes off again against the Redskins and has a big game overall, and Percy Harvin as well. Want to see the Vikings use him, and if the Washington Redskins can contain him, although I think D'Angelo Hall is the right man for the job as long as he doesn't let Percy Harvin get behind him or run through him. I'm going to take my Minnesota Vikings to move to 5-1, and hopefully they can do so. But anyways, next up, Green Bay traveling to Houston. Great Sunday Night Football matchup. Cannot wait for this game. Green Bay could go to 2-4 if they lose, and many are predicting them to do just that. Now the Texans, they're one of the hottest teams in football. They're arguably the best team in the NFL. And it's hard to game plan for J.J. Watt, and the Packers don't really have the greatest offensive line. I can see them applying a lot of pressure, at least J.J. Watt being able to bat balls down the line of scrimmage. The Packers have to be aware of him at all times. And meanwhile, the Packers are without Cedric Benson now for at least 8 weeks, I think it is. And their top pass catcher, Greg Jennings, is once again out. They have a couple players questionable in B.J. Raji and Jermichael Finley. Jermichael Finley's pass catching ability is also questionable for Sunday's game as well. But right now, I think the Houston Texans are just too good of a football team on offense and defense for the Packers to keep up. I think it's going to be a close game, though. Very excited for this game. I'm taking Houston 31-24. And now finally, Monday Night Football. I love some AFC West action here. Denver Broncos against the San Diego Superchargers. And this is a big week, I think, for both teams in this division, especially for the Broncos, who could go to 2-4 in the season if they don't win this one. And I'm taking the Denver Broncos because they need this victory, and I like Peyton Manning more than Phillip Rivers, especially if this game ends up being a very close game, which I think it will ultimately be. But it's a very even matchup, I think, and I'm really excited to watch this. And so I'm taking Denver 27-23, I mean. And so that concludes my 2012 Week 6 NFL picks, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll be back next week with some more NFL-related content. But thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.